Madam Speaker, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed by the fact that we had an opportunity today to make real, bipartisan, and meaningful reform, yet that's not the bill that's before us today. I'm disappointed the Democrat leadership seems more interested in passing a bill through the House than having actual solutions signed into law. And I'm disappointed the bill before us today punishes good police officers. This is very personal to me. 1 month ago, my community lost one of our own. George Floyd was born in Fayetteville, and members of his family still live in our community. I was honored to be asked to speak at his memorial service, where I promised his family and our community I would work to create real and meaningful reform. After listening to many leaders in our community, as well as talking to many here in Congress, it became clear that there's a lot that Republicans and Democrats agree on. We agree on banning chokeholds, increasing police accountability and information sharing, improving training, reforming no-knock warrants, and increasing the use of body cameras. The reality of our divided government is that for any legislation to become law, it has to pass the Democrat-controlled House, the Republican-controlled Senate, and be signed by the Republican president. The Democrats introduced this legislation with no input from Republicans and jammed it through the committee without accepting any constructive input or amendments. Now, many Republican amendments would have strengthened this bill, like increasing the penalty for lynching and blocking unions from protecting bad cops. This bill also removes qualified immunity for police officers. That means any police officer could be dragged into civil court by any disgruntled person they ever come in contact with. Now, we all agree bad cops shouldn't be able to hide behind qualified immunity. Representative Ben Cline and I introduced an amendment that would have earned the support of a majority of this House and would have solved this problem. But the Democrats wouldn't allow it. Now, why would they do that? My colleagues across the aisle may have the votes to pass this measure in the House, but this legislation is already dead on arrival in the Senate, and the president would never sign it. They would say to the families who mourn the loss of life, they would say to the people who march for justice that 100% of nothing is better than 80% of what they propose in this bill. They want you to believe the failure to get real reform is the fault of the Republicans when they shut us out of the process and they blocked us from having an open debate in the Senate. Wake up, America. The Democrats in Congress hope you aren't smart enough to see the truth. Wake up and demand that your elected officials work together to get you the reform that all people of goodwill demand. Tell them to stop this charade while there's still time. We owe it to the memory of George Floyd and to good police officers who risk their lives every day to protect us. I'm committed to continuing to fight for meaningful reform and for healing in our communities. And I ask my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to stop the political games and answer the cries heard across this country.